Welcome to part two. We're just waiting for Kent to click in. Here he is. Women love him. Men want to be him. How you doing, Kent? Is Kent there?
How you doing, Russell? That's me. I'm back with you.
Go on, Kent. I thought we'd lost you. I thought you jumped in your spacecraft and disappeared.
Disappeared the button moon. You like that?
Hey, I don't know. What's the best thing a fighter can do if he's having it rough? What trainer should he go to, Kent? If he's having it rough and he can't take a shot, who should he go to?
I think if a fighter can't take a shot, boxing's a hard sport. I think if you're looking at somebody it's been in the sport, and I look at this, you look at someone knows the sport, has been around the amateur scene, knows how to develop a fighter, not just work with elite fighters. It's like, I remember when Carl turned pro and he wasn't working with Jerry Story anymore. He went to work with Shane. And I remember Shane talking about, yeah, look how I've improved him and all. And I worked with the guy at the time. And the guy told me that, he had an argument with Shane, says, well, what do you mean you've improved him? You're training an elite level fighter. He's a Porsche already. What are you talking about? It's not like you've got someone from day one and developed them. So I look at it all round, and
He got Olympics in Frampton.
Carl didn't go to the Olympics. No, he didn't.
He was decorated amateur, though, wasn't he?
He was a really good amateur. The amateur scene then was really high level, and Northern Ireland and Ireland at the time, and Carl was on the high performance team. He was Ulster senior champion. He went multi-nations, lots of international trips. So there was a lot of good fighters around, obviously bantamweight, featherweight, flyweight at the time. And I remember a fighter, I actually fought this guy. And I remember Julian asked me a question on the channel before: name your best southpaws. And it kind of put me on the spot a bit. And the best southpaw that I have ever seen, like, I've seen a lot of good fighters live. I remember seeing Sergio Martinez in Belfast against Richard Williams. See a southpaw, Sergio Martinez. And I remember I fought a guy called Ryan Limburg from Amac, and he was a southpaw, and he was the best southpaw I've ever seen live. Ren Limburg, he called him, and he beat Carl in the Ulster Senior Final and went on to get to the Commonwealth Games. That was the year that the Ulster Seniors was for, basically, if you won the Ulster Seniors, you got selected to go to the Commonwealth Games, and Ryan got pipped for bronze, but he never went pro. But Ryan Limburg was one of the best fighters I've ever seen. I fought him. He stopped me. No shame in that. But he's the best, one of the best fighters I've ever boxed against or ever seen. He was super. But Carl was a great amateur, a fantastic amateur, well traveled. Won a lot of competed in a lot of elite multi-nations tournaments. So, but what was I saying there? What was you said? What was the question? I've just went off on one there, haven't I?
I'm asking you about Carl Frampton's amateur career.
Yeah, he was really, really good. Really, really brilliant coach in Billy McKee. His coach, who passed away there a few years ago. Billy was absolutely super. His other amateur coach was a man called Josie Farrell, who was one of the toughest guys you'll ever meet in Belfast at the time. He was such a tough man. He was in the army. He fought. you know, in the army and stuff, and had won a lot of tournaments from the shore road. Real tough man. I always remember him walking his dogs round
What was his
the
name,
Grove.
Kent?
Joseph Farrell. Joseph Farrell.
Could he fight Terry McCann?
Who's Terry McCann?
You don't know who Terry McCann is? And you ever watched Minder, Kent?
Yes, Minder. Listen, we tell you, Terry McCann.
Arthur Daly's Minder.
Terry McCann wouldn't have been able to tie one of Josie's shoelaces.
Listen, mate, Terry McCann can do anybody.
He's a good singer as well, isn't he?
Terry McCann, yeah, he's a good singer. He's a jack of all trades. Sweeney as well, mate, but he's the man. Terry McCann with his capri and his leather.
Yeah, but the reboot of Minder was dreadful. Remember, it was just like Matthew or something that was brought in to be the Minder of Arford. It was dreadful, that last few series. But come back to Carl. Yeah, Carl was a fantastic amateur, fantastic pro. My favorite, one of my favorite. Carl Frampton, to me, is like your Carl Froch. So he is. Yeah. And at the minute, he's an absolutely fantastic pundit. He is brilliant pundit.
Froches as well, though.
Really good, yeah. Obviously, you know, he's got an opinion and he's going to stick to it. He's not going to follow the narrative. But for me, I would actually go as far as say that Card's probably one of the best pundits around in boxing at the minute.
Listen, if the Cobra had had a microphone and it got to Gyro Miller and they said, "Do you think it's a bit cheeky you're tiptoeing back into the sport? You know, with all these drug tests and drug issues and that." You know,
well, it'll take somebody to do that. It's gonna take somebody to do that, Russell.
Well, nobody has, have they? We get their own on Sly, but they won't do it while the guy's there.
No, it's disappointing. So it is. It really is disappointing that you can have an opinion for so long on something, but when you actually have to make a stand,
it's weak for boxing, isn't it? That's what it is. It's weak journalism.
It's not even journalism. A journalist wouldn't behave like that.
You know, after everything they all said about Miller.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. What they all said about him, and neither interviewing him and teeing him. I think Spencer Oliver's a hypocrite. I've said that to you in video one, and it's really, really disappointing.
Yeah, so clean up your act, jug ears. Lay off the beak. Hey, what do you think to the beak rumours from Fury, from Usyk? Presser, they reckon they were going in like a good one, don't they?
I actually haven't seen the press conference. I haven't. I haven't seen it. I've been working quite a lot the last few days, so I'm only really catching up last night. So it was.
Yeah, apparently he looked off his rockaroon.
Well, I wouldn't know anyway. But
you wouldn't know anyway, you can, would you?
No.
Pints of shandy and a packet of porkies, and you're
not even
on, aren't you, mate?
Not even, Russell. A pint of shandy would have me drunk.
1 pint of shandy, you'd be drunk, Kent.
I don't like alcohol at all. It doesn't agree with me.
Shandy's not alcohol, Kent. It's like dandelion and burdock.
Nah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like alcohol of any description. It just doesn't. I just don't. It doesn't agree with me. It just goes straight to my legs. I go like somebody that's been hit by Deontay Wilder or George Foreman. That's the way my legs go with alcohol.
Yeah?
Just quit while in my head.
God. What do you think, really, then, to Joshua Wilder? We were promised Joshua Wilder all this, and we've got him there on the same card, Ken, and look what's happened.
I think times changed. I think things have changed in boxing. I think boxing really needs to be making fights. I think UK promoters is under a lot of threat in the UK from social media, kind of white collar events. I don't even call it boxing because it's not. That's a disrespect to boxing. And I think boxing needs to start making fights happen. And I think a lot of the negativity that comes with the press is Saudi. At least they're actually trying to help the sport. Yes, there is Gerard Miller is on the bill, but look at the many fighters, that has been on matchroom bills that have served bans, and Frank Warren as well. But put that aside, and the people that they have involved, and now they can actually, before you couldn't even get these people around the table to talk about boxing, never mind get their fighters on a different broadcaster, on a different event in a different country. So I think that trajectory has changed massively. And it's not like these people, I'm sure Russell, as a business, Terry has spoken about it. These people are not stupid. They are shrewd businessmen. They're smart business people, and they have a vision. And, with having Wilder and with having Joshua on that card, if I was the promoter, I would make sure that there's a bout agreement for them to fight on the same card on separate fights, but the bout agreement is actually in the second fight that they fight each other with possible rematch after that. So it could be a free fight bout agreement. If they haven't done that, it's real stupid. But these people are not stupid. They're very, very smart, good business people. And I think it'll be in the bout agreement that they have to fight. Minimum of twice.
How will Bricktop explain signing Miller? If Miller beats the bar, because he's bound to have options on him, isn't he? How would he explain signing Miller?
I don't think it's
after everything he's said about drug cheats.
I don't think there's going to be the exclusivity of Frank Warren. If there was, AJ wouldn't be on the card, Matchroom wouldn't be involved. So I think it's kind of like yes, he is promoting an event for Saudi, but I don't think he's going to be the sole promoter of Big Baby Miller. I think he's just been brought in there as a B-side opponent to fill the card, who's with a different promoter. If that was the case, obviously, you've got Makhmudov, Arsmadak Makhmudov is with Lion Promotions in Canada, so they're going to have an agreement with him. Miller's going to have an agreement with Dimitri Salita. Otto Wallin's going to have an agreement with Salita as well. So all them fighters are going to be affiliated to their promoters. So it's not going to be quite as easy as in, yeah, you're on our card, you're with us. I think all that would have had to been. I think it's going to be open, like an open option, where it's not necessarily fight option.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, nobody would be on that card. It wouldn't be as open as that.
What about Ngannou getting that ranking with WBC?
I think down the line, Francis will probably go with Top Rank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Francis is going to go with Top Rank. Francis will go with whoever pays the most money and get some opportunities. Francis fought a long time to get out of his UFC contract, which nobody really does. Randy Couture, the ex-UFC light heavyweight champion, helped Francis for 2 years get out of that contract. So if he's going to go somewhere, it's going to be to the person that's going to offer him the most. And personally, I see it being Top Rank.
You see it being a problem for Dana White?
No, definitely not.
Some of these fighters leaving to try boxing. No,
definitely not. No, the thing with Francis was that he fought for upside. He didn't get it. He fought for a better contract. He didn't really get it. Francis had 2 fights left on his contract, and basically he won the title, and he had no more. His contract had expired because he succeeded in his contract. He had a X amount. I'm not sure how many fight deal he had signed, but basically, as UFC champion, you cannot, the way their contract works, because this happened years ago with PJ Penn, who was UFC welterweight champion and left and went and fought in a rival organization called Pride with the belt and as UFC champion, and it looked really, really bad for the UFC. So they made it in their contract that if you were the champion of any of their divisions, you had to defend it. You had to defend it. Say you had a 5-fight deal, and on that 5th fight you won the title, you had an extension onto your contract as an extra fight.
Mm.
So I don't think Dana White's going to be too worried about boxing. Dana White's got he fronts Endeavor, who owns the UFC, and he works for them. His business, I think Dana's probably glad he isn't involved in boxing. He was meant to get involved in boxing a couple of years ago. I think he's actually glad he's not involved in boxing.
What do you think to the talk doing the rounds about Dylan White saying he'll get in cage in America?
It's like this. It's Nevada State. Depends on the states. It depends where he goes. Dana is a businessman. If they have someone that's failed 2 tests already in their career and served a ban, are they going to be a reliable source of income? Are they going to be reliable to fight? I don't know. You've got Tom Aspinall, who's the interim heavyweight champion in the UFC. Personally, I think he'll be upgraded as heavyweight champion because John Jones is just went through an injury at the moment. So I don't know. I think time's running out for Dillian White. He's beyond his mid-30s, and I think if he wants to go to another sport, he's going to have to just go to another sport. But at the minute, MMA is a tricky situation. At the minute, you've got Bellator. Nobody knows what's happening with Bellator at the minute. They seem to be, they've lost their contract with the network, and that the network obviously aren't doing MMA and boxing anymore. So there's PFL, who Francis actually signed with there after he left UFC. So if he's going to go to anywhere, it'll probably be PFL first. I don't think it would be the UFC.
No. What do you think to Tony Bellew going into Jungle?
Well, he's not the first boxer to go in the Jungle. Ex-boxer, you had Amir Khan went in the Jungle a few years back. We had Chris Eubanks Sr., or English, or the Sheriff, as he likes to be called, went in the Jungle. I suppose it's publicity for him.
David Day went in, didn't he? David Day.
David Hay was in there. I suppose it's publicity for him. He's obviously been on SAS Who Dares, and I would suppose he's getting well paid for it. It's a good money maker for him. So, listen, it's
all the media commitments you'll have to do, leading up to it and then coming out of it.
I think Tony would like that. I think he likes being in the mix, I suppose, and likes to be, it's helping his profile and maybe do other things away from boxing, presenting other types of programs, whatever. So he's getting well paid for it. So I'm not surprised. If you're offered that amount of money to go on the Jungle, you wouldn't turn it down.
You think he'll ever disappear, Kent?
Well, it depends on one of them, Bush Tucker challenges. Depends what's in one of them tanks, I suppose. But the disappearing man that always appears is Tony Bellew. Say his name 3 times and he'll be in your living room.
Chris Eubank, where does he go now, if this Crusher thing if Crusher Pipe don't come off? Because they're dragging their heels with it, aren't they?
Personally, I don't think it happens. I said this 2 days ago. I think Eubank isn't about legacy. He's about money. I think if he's going to be about legacy, he goes and fights Janibek for the IBF and the WBO. For me, Janibek is the #1 middleweight in the world at the minute. You know, Denzel Bentley gave him life and death in a really tough fight. So does he go and fight somebody for legacy? Somebody like, you know, a Denzel Bentley? I don't think so. Does he go and fight Janibek for legacy? I don't think so. I think he's looking a payout. I think he's looking a cash out. And I think he's done really well. He's one of the very few fighters that have played it to the T. He's played it to himself, where he's managed by Wasserman but can fight in any network. That's a fantastic deal, Russell.
Yeah.
That's a really good deal, and that opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah, do you think Denzel Bentley will ever get a big fight?
He's fighting the net against Nathan Heaney in TNT, which is a good fight. I think Bentley's far more. I think Bentley's level above Heaney, to be honest with you. He sells a lot of tickets, but I would like to see Bentley get another chance at Janibek and really push it this time. I think he started a bit slow and finished really, really well. I think if he started a bit earlier, he could have won that fight. But going away to America and winning as the B-side fighter is really hard. But if he forced it a bit more, he could have. Not saying he could have stopped Janibek, but if he had put a bit more heat on him, it would have been. It was a close fight, enough in the scorecards, but if he could get that fight in the UK, you know, it would cost to bring him over. He would have a lot better chance. But I really like Denzel Bentley. He's a really good fighter.
What do you think to Horsecock getting an MBE?
I'm actually watching him now on Sky, to be honest with you. Well, he's navigated it. He's navigated his career really well, hasn't he? You know, he's very good at getting himself opportunities. He seems to be that lead man now on Sky. He talks well. You know, he's a bit of a Johnny. I don't mind Johnny. He seems to have a good personality in a way.
He's coming out of his shell a bit now. Eddie Hills is not there, and B.
He does. He does. He's became. You see him. He's growing more as a person on TV since Matchroom have left Sky. He's been given more of a free role at Sky, and he's developing. I'm not saying he's a great pundit, but he's a good personality on TV. He talks well. He knows the sport. Fair play. You know, he does a lot of charity work. I'd say that boxing. He's a good story. You know, he seems a decent guy. I don't know him, but fair play to him.
Yeah, fair play to him with his MBE. Hey, there were a couple of people to add to that list over there who've got 10 wins or more. Chris Eubank Senior and Nigel Benn, weren't there?
We said that. I said that.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't add them on. But do we count WBOs? But Ben had a lot of WBCs, didn't
he? We have to, Russell, because we're in the 4-belt era, and the other one that was on 9, the Ricky Burns one.
Joshua and Ricky Burns.
The Ricky Burns one has 9, but there's a fight there with an asterisk beside. I put an asterisk beside it.
There's about 10 people in that 8, 9, and 10. There should be a lot more, shouldn't there, from after war, or in this country.
You know, you've got pre-war, post-war. You've got some, Jimmy Wilde, the great Welsh fighter. Fighting at flyweight, way back. He was a massive punch in flyweight.
They fought every week, didn't they, Kent?
Yeah, if anyone's new to the channel or watches the channel, and go and check out the story of Jimmy Wilde. He one of probably the greatest Welsh fighter of all time.
I bet you sit there with your jelly babies watching that, don't you, Ken?
There was the great Tommy Farr. He went up and fought for the title as well. Another great Welsh fighter. But post-war and pre-war, it's really what do you count as that there was different kind of areas that had world titles. There was the Ring magazine at the time, but post-war, that's what we did post-war. But as I say, I put an asterisk beside Anthony Katsidis. That fight was down as an interim belt, so I don't class that as full.
Otherwise, Burns would have had 10.
10, yes. He would have had 10.
Well, a shame, innit? But he had a good career, Ricky Burns, freeweight champion, wasn't he, Ken?
Ricky Burns had a great career, and regardless of winning that WBA belt, it was a terrible, they pulled that out of the hat, out of the rabbit hole as an opportunity, and he took it and he won it. Someone who fought, who lost at domestic level, but before he won a world title, and won at domestic level to win a world title, he done really, really well, and you have to respect that. That's something that you have to respect as a fighter. Coming back, losing at domestic level and winning a world title, you have to respect that. And he had a great career. He looks like he made a lot of money. At that time, he left Frank Warren and went to Sky at the time and Matchroom. But he's had a great career. It's good to see a fighter. It's good to see a fighter. It's really good to see a fighter lose at domestic level and go on and win a world title. That's brilliant. That just goes to show that boxing isn't all about a perfect record. It's all about obviously taking your opportunities and going on and being a better fighter.
You watch a lot of old documentaries, Ken. Like Jimmy Wilde that you're on about, stuff like that.
I remember years ago, I was given. I used to get bought a lot of books, boxing books, and I would have done a lot of reading on boxing. That's boxing for me was like an education, like school. I learned a lot about boxing via reading it. Before the internet, and I used to get videotape. I used to get my pocket money on a Saturday and go and buy a second-hand videotape, boxing videotape, and rush home to watch it. And that's how I learned about boxing and boxing news at the weekends, what have you. Got that on a Saturday and then watched obviously Saturday Fight Night on Sky and watched boxing on Eurosport. So for me, my education was reading boxing and checking records and reading books and stuff. So yes, I like that. I need to get back to reading a bit more, to be honest with you. I've got Carl Frampton's book. If anybody hasn't bought Carl Frampton's book, go and buy it. It's a great read. I'm saying it's a great read. I'm telling you, I haven't read it yet. But yeah, I did a lot of reading growing up about fighters and records. And what was actually, remember I sent you a picture of that boxing Bible I had? Boxing Encyclopedia, it's called. It was absolutely brilliant. Post-war, pre-war, all the sanctioning body records. It was really, really good. Oh, every time I always open that book, I always find something new.
Yeah. What do you think to Bivol and Lyndon Arthur for a fight, Kent?
Listen, people that don't really know about fighting will criticize it. And they'll say, yeah, Lyndon Arthur's an IBO champion and he doesn't deserve to be in the same ring as Bivol, and he's going to get destroyed. He's going to get destroyed and this and that. Well, okay, so he's been offered money to go and fight in Saudi. He's probably going to get 3 to 4 times more money fighting in that card. He's fighting the best, probably one of the top 3 fighters, pound for pound, in the world. Bivol needs to stay active. And it's not like he's going in with a guy who's 50 and 50 knockouts. It's a chance for him to stay active. And it's a chance for Lyndon Arthur to enhance his brand and enhance him. And if he fights really well in this fight, he's going to get another opportunity down the line. So if anybody says anything other than that, I think they're just being stupid. They don't really know anything about boxing.
Well, Lyndon Arthur's in with a chance, isn't he?
Well, it's an opportunity for him to earn a lot of money and fight the best in the world. And these guys want to fight. They want the best opportunities.
Why did they take Yarde out there? That's what I want to know.
You know, this is a guy that's took the opportunity. He knows the magnitude of this fight, Russell. Okay. He's going to get well paid for it. You look at Joshua Buatsi a year ago, turned down an opportunity to fight Bivol for the world title and a rematch that would have been life-changing money. You know what? Just not taking a fight against a world champion because you're going to have a rematch clause. That's not how boxing works now. It's nowhere that if you're going to get a voluntary, if you're going to give somebody a voluntary defense, you're going to want a rematch clause. So that didn't make sense. So I applaud him on taking that fight. I think it serves its purpose for both fighters, Russell.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, let's hope that he pulls it off, because if he beats Bivol, he'll be fighter. Yeah, surely, won't he?
I would put Bivol in the top 3 pound for pound.
What at the moment?
Yeah.
What, Bivol top 3, Ken? That's a bold move for you, isn't it? Are you okay? You're not on Tizer, are you, Kent?
I know I'm probably going to get rinsed for it, but I've been following Bivol a long time, and I know technically as a fighter and how he fights and his style and the fighter he is. You know, he beat Kalano easily beat him. So why would I get criticized for saying that when people were putting Kalano at the time as this division jumping pound for pound great, where then Bivol comes in and absolutely schools him? Why does he not have why do I not have the right to put him in the top 3 pound for pound after that?
Yeah. Well, I know he beat Canelo, but well, does that mean that Buster Douglas, when he beat Mike Tyson, were he top 3?
Well, if Tyson was pound for pound number 1 at that time, and Buster Douglas beats him, does that mean then if Mike Tyson was pound for pound number 1 then and got beat, did he stay pound for pound number 1?
I don't know if he was number 1 then. It might have been Pernell Whitaker or something like that.
But as an example.
Oh yeah,
as an example, does he deserve to stay number 1?
I don't know. They have a rematch, don't they? I suppose. Buster Douglas never had one, did they?
Well, I think I'm not saying he is, but in my top 3, I would have Bivol in my top 3 as the best fighter in the world, one of the top 3 fighters in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can get rinsed for it all I want in the comment section.
Well, you got a number 1, Kent?
That's just my Crawford.
Who's number 2?
In a way.
And number 3, Bivol. Who's number 4?
Number 4 and 5 don't count. Top 3.
Kent's top 3. Bold statement tonight from Kent.
Gold, silver, and bronze.
You'll be getting rinsed from the Kent fan club. You'll be getting roasted, Kent.
It's just having an opinion, Just because you disagree with an opinion on someone doesn't mean you need to roast them. That's their opinion, they're entitled to it. We're all entitled to have an opinion on something.
Yeah, there's not wrong with that, mate, is there?
No, no.
What's your all-time great fighter of all time favorite, Ken?
I've said this loads of times. It's between Hagler and Roberto Duran.
Yeah, you're a Duran man, you aren't you, Ken?
Just the for me, like,
It was dirty though, wasn't it, Duran, Ken?
a South American kid that was brought up in the streets. He fought, he fought for his life. What a great fighter! What a great fighter! What a tough fighter he was. Yes, he was a tough fighter. He was amazing. His career is amazing. I always said he's the greatest lightweight of all time. I'll stick by that. And he's my favorite fighter of all time, Russell. Marvin Hagler would be second. I go through phases where Hagler's my favorite, but it's always Duran for me. I'm just a massive. There's a great documentary on Sky Documentaries. It's Roberto Duran documentary. Go and watch it. It is absolutely brilliant. It really is top class.
Yeah, I will do, Kent. I will do. All right. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, mate.
All the best, Russell. Have a good weekend.
All the best, mate. You take care, pal.
Take care. Peace out.
Cheers, Kent. Bye. Well, that were Kent from Ireland. Women love him. Men want to be him. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And most of all, sharing the video amongst your pals on WhatsApp. Booyaka!